The chord progression is A7, D7, which is one of those kind of bluesy vamps that's major, but you could get away with. But after a while, you'll feel stuck. And so this lesson was a way that I've observed all my heroes, your Jimi Hendrixes, Jimmy Pages, Eric Claptons, and others, kind of connect major pentatonic and minor pentatonic, Freddie King's, okay, all the great blues lead guitar players connect it across the neck. So if I'm in A, I started in my relative minor of A, my F-sharp blues. Which is kind of your Skinnerd zone, really. So I was thinking this scale. I think I started with a... something of that ilk. Again, it doesn't matter too much because this is more about the overall, like what I was thinking while I was doing it. I think I did... yeah, bending that 4 there. And that has that very specific sound, that kind of warm Allman Brothers, some of Mick Taylor stuff too, has that major pentatonic, because that in that scenario is the major. And then just to kind of set our ears, as I move my way up the neck, I play some blues licks. Some standard A, that's going to be from our A blues scale. So yeah, I went from major pentatonic to blues. And then I stayed in blues and went to the little blues extension box, which a lot of us have seen or learned. It always lives just a little bit beyond the pinky note of a pentatonic minor. The key is to realize that this is the anchor point. That 10th fret is the A. And you know, one of my favorite blues guitar players, Freddie King, he's super adept at work those bends, get the most articulation you can out of them. And not often are you going to bend that A. Sometimes people make the mistake, they're thinking blues equals bend any note, but it's kind of weird to bend that one. That has kind of a trippy kind of quality. Depending on the song, it might work, but usually you wouldn't bend the root note of a blues. So that's all still blues there. So I've worked my way across the fretboard. I'm at the 10th fret. Now the Freddie King, I'll call it Freddie King box, but it's the blues extension, connects seamlessly to the B.B. King box. And so that was, you know, if the Freddie King box was these little, was that 8s and 10s, this one is 10s and 12s, and also that 11 there. And yeah, you can do that one again. There's our A. So technically that's another major pentatonic. So it went major pentatonic, minor pentatonic, minor pentatonic, and then major pentatonic again. And yeah, all my favorite guitar players are really good in these zones here. This little standard Freddie King extender. And then seamlessly. And that has that, again, that kind of happy country quality. So it's like, yeah, as you're moving up the fretboard, it doesn't just sound like, you know, it doesn't sound like a Frank Gambale shred video from the 80s, which actually I watched some of those. They're really fun. But it kind of, you're moving through and you're bending the ear. It's kind of being unpredictable between happy and sad, country and dark, and I don't know, it's just more interesting. And so yeah, I think some of the licks I used, I did like a big bend on that 12. There's a lot around that one. I mean, B.B. King like made his whole career around that B.B. King box. And I think I did this cool like country trick where I do that. That's a great trick if you don't know it. The 12 goes up. And then the next connector isn't our major pentatonic again. It is the oft forgotten root 5 minor pentatonic. One of the most useful scales that a lot of people forget that they know or never learn. We learn our minor pentatonic, our blues, and we're like, okay, that's cool. But root 5, anything you learn on guitar, you want to learn root 6 and root 5. Any scale, arpeggio, chord, anything. So this one, you know, if you did it the same positioning. This one is in this Eric Clapton solo to While My Guitar Gently Weeps by the Beatles is all out of this one. Something like that. I mean, it's been a while since I practiced it. I think I actually kind of copped some of his licks from that in this little demonstration. So yeah, I came from there. And then I was like, oh, wait a second, minor pentatonic again. So I saw those two notes there, my 15s. So I could connect them. And I think, you know, depending on which take I end up putting in front of this, I usually do out of that. I might get to that 15 there because that's G bending up to my tonic A, pretty triumphant sound. So let me review the connectors. A major pentatonic. And again, notice I'm not trying to play a whole scale, I'm just thinking of like, what licks do I know over here? And then I connect to my standard minor pentatonic. I'm like, I want to go up higher. Okay, there's my Freddie King box. B.B. King box. Root 5 minor pentatonic. And then I think the rest of it I'm just messing around. But to me, yeah, thinking in terms of like not, you know, I did learn to practice my minor pentatonic all the way up the neck. But these aren't licks. These are just scales. And it just, if you practice only scales, you come out playing only scales. So always try and find where the art is, where the phrases are, where the cool notes are, where the bends are, where the stuff is that sounds cool. Because I just think you can actually end up wasting too much time just pointlessly practicing scales rather than thinking in terms of licks that connect up the fretboard. I guess that's what I was trying to get across with this. I do have tabs available for any of my lessons that you see on my YouTube channel. You can just hit me up at my email. I'll be more than happy to help you out with your guitar studies or gear questions or tone questions or things like that. But I hope that is fun and helpful for you. Thanks so much for watching.